Am I the jerk for refusing to let my in-laws move into my house? My husband's parents just lost their house in a gambling debt, and honestly, the first thing my mother-in-law, Carol, did was suggest they move in with us. I almost choked on my coffee when she said it. We've been married for 5 years, and while I liked them well enough, living together felt like a recipe for disaster. Mark, my husband, 32, and I bought our first house 2 years ago, a modest 3-bedroom in the suburbs. His parents, Carol, 60, and Richard, 62, have always been, a lot. Carol is incredibly opinionated and Richard is, well, Richard is a man who still wears socks with sandals. Over the years, little things have added up, Carol's constant unsolicited decorating advice, Richard's loud chewing, and their general lack of boundaries. We love them, but from a distance. The first hint that things were spiraling came about a month ago. They started coming over, just to visit, more frequently, often bringing casseroles that I suspected were a subtle hint about their culinary skills. Then, the questions started: are you using the guest room, and, do you think you'll ever rent out your basement? I brushed them off, thinking they were just making conversation. The bomb dropped last Tuesday. We were at their house for dinner, which Carol cooked, naturally, and after dessert, Richard cleared his throat nervously. So, kids, he started, his voice shaking slightly. We've hit a bit of a snag. Carol chimed in, her voice strained, we lost the house. All of it. Richard made some poor decisions. That's when Carol looked directly at me and said, honey, we were wondering if maybe we could stay with you two for a little while. Just until we get back on our feet. Mark looked at me with pleading eyes. The room felt like it was shrinking. I managed a weak smile and said we needed to talk about it. That night, Mark and I fought. They have nowhere else to go, he exclaimed, running a hand through his hair. I can't just leave them out on the street. I understood his loyalty, I truly did. But I also knew myself, and I knew I couldn't handle living with them long term. Mark, I said, trying to stay calm. We have a small house. There's no privacy. It'll put a huge strain on our marriage. I suggested exploring other options, renting a smaller apartment, moving in with his sister across the state, even a temporary stay at a hotel. He wouldn't budge. The next day, Carol called. So, dear, have you two decided? I hesitated, my stomach twisting into knots. Carol, I began, I'm so sorry, but we can't have you move in. It's just not feasible for us right now. There was a long, icy silence on the other end of the line. Then, her voice, dripping with disappointment, I see. So, your comfort is more important than your own family's well-being? She hung up before I could respond. Since then, things have been incredibly awkward. Mark is resentful, constantly sighing and making pointed comments about my lack of compassion. His sister, Sarah, called me, accusing me of being heartless. Even my own mother thinks I'm being unreasonable. Mark's been sleeping on the couch for the past 3 nights, and he barely speaks to me. He keeps saying things like, I thought you cared about my family. I feel trapped. I care about them, but I also care about my own sanity and my marriage. I offered to help them find an apartment, pay for the security deposit, even help them furnish it. But they refused, saying it wasn't the same as being with family. They're now staying in a budget motel about 20 minutes away, funded by a loan from Sarah. Mark visits them every day after work, and I can see the strain it's putting on him. I just don't know what to do. I feel guilty, selfish, and completely alone. So, was I wrong for doing this?